AVS Media Demo.
Show and tell. Who's got stuff? Oh. Let's start with the ladies and we'll move our way back.
AVS Media Demo.
How was your shopping at Costco yesterday?
I was about to say that. I saw my microbiology teacher at Costco,
Yeah,
so that's,
had a cart full.
that's microbiology.
Tough to get out of there with under $200.
Yeah.
That was it? That was all you did?
AVS Media Demo.
He is human.
I'm the shopper. Yes.
Neurovirus
Yes.
at senior living facility,
Yeah.
27 residents.
Yep.
AVS Media Demo.
We're going to talk about that today.
Where is it?
In terms of what that booger is though.
Virus.
Yeah, but we learned a little more about it. Where was that, by the way?
AVS Media Demo.
Right, it's in Coal Ranch, that's right. I heard that as well.
I just have something to say about that. There's a lot of these neurostomach viruses and stuff going around, and that is the first time I've ever actually heard
AVS Media Demo.
the nursing home I used to work at, they had a massive outbreak. Like everybody on the second floor had the stomach virus, and they never did anything about it. So
They should have. They should have.
I'm kind of glad that Atria actually said, okay, look, we're under quarantine.
Yep.
AVS Media Demo.
Would they get on cruise ships?
Hold on, we'll talk about it. It was on my list of agenda items today. So hold on to that.
I was going to talk about the 27th.
Hold on. Good here.
AVS Media Demo.
We're going to talk about the nursing home too, the
Ah,
27th
okay.
going back to.
Exactly. Fine.
I got a second one.
Okay, go ahead.
G. diff, there's
Yeah.
now a fecal bank that
AVS Media Demo.
donated their poop to, and people can get poop transplants.
Exactly.
I'm sorry,
So,
what?
fecal transplants are the new rage.
No.
For those who seem to just
AVS Media Demo.
difficile infections, that they would try to refluoride you with somebody who's got a pretty good flora. So you can donate to the fecal bank. And
AVS Media Demo.
is if you could be a good donor.
The future is now.
And the donee just gets a quick squirt. And it works.
AVS Media Demo.
One go about donating.
You go to the store and you buy a bag. And,
You send that via UPS or?
yeah, exactly.
AVS Media Demo.
Envelope, cardboard envelopes.
That's it.
One price.
Tends to leak through.
Double bags, it's okay.
Anyway, a couple of things.
AVS Media Demo.
In 1954 was the first mass inoculation of school children using the Salk polio vaccine. Which we're going to talk about today too. Oh.
I heard about the polio like vaccine this morning. That's
AVS Media Demo.
getting some children out in California. They were holding this one lady, they were talking about on the news as soon as I was leaving, about a child, she was holding a cup and then all of a sudden she was like ready to drop.
So,
AVS Media Demo.
No, she did, they said that she did not have polio, but it's a polio-like virus.
oh, yeah, well, we'll talk about that too, because there's a bunch of them falling into that group.
About 5 of them said that's been like that.
Say that again.
I just read about it, they said they
AVS Media Demo.
children that came up with polio-like symptoms, but they were diagnosed with polio. So,
I
they're trying to figure out.
We'll have to watch that one. This is Saturday.
AVS Media Demo.
The other thing that came out of NPR, I heard that last week, is that 1 in 4 people living in the United States believe that the sun revolves around the earth. 1 in 4.
AVS Media Demo.
Yes.
That's actually up too, because like 10 years ago, Pew did that and they got 18%.
Yeah.
Now it's
It's getting worse. unusual culture in which it's amazing.
AVS Media Demo.
Illiterate. Incredibly high number of people that are illiterate.
Are those adults?
These are adults. Yeah,
No.
A lot of people are functionally
exactly.
a lot.
AVS Media Demo.
When you consider, I don't know if you heard of the blow up at LSU, Louisiana State University, that's LSU, the boys go in dumb, come out dumb too. The
AVS Media Demo.
reading level of football players at Louisiana State University was the fourth grade. Fourth grade. And so it was, and there are a bunch of other schools kind of falling in the same category.
AVS Media Demo.
Yes.
My nephew was one of those walking, functional,
Yeah.
went to college,
Yeah.
almost graduated.
Yeah.
And could only read at a seventh grade level.
Yeah, it's sad, sad. The question is, how do they get in?
AVS Media Demo.
Anyway, in the op-ed section of Saturday's Times, which you all should be getting now, let me just read this, it's a couple of paragraphs. The list of infectious diseases that could lead from
AVS Media Demo.
countries thousands of miles away is growing. So like we saw with the Ebola thing last week, the video that we took a look at. A warning of what can happen occurred a decade ago when there was an outbreak in China of a mysterious new viral disease.
AVS Media Demo.
Severe acute respiratory syndrome was covered up by the Chinese authorities, allowing infected airline passengers to carry the virus to more than 2 dozen other countries. The disease killed 800 plus people, caused large economic losses in Asia.
AVS Media Demo.
It was hit hard by that. I don't know if you remember that. It was about 10 years ago. Now long-standing worries that such deadly viruses as Ebola might be carried from Africa to the United States and elsewhere have been joined by new concerns. These include, among others, potentially dangerous
AVS Media Demo.
detected in China, a newly discovered and often lethal lung disease known as MERS. You familiar with that one? Which refers to Middle East respiratory syndrome, which has so far been found mostly in Saudi Arabia.
AVS Media Demo.
Resistant strain of tuberculosis, there's actually several of those strains, that are very difficult to treat, and a painful mosquito-borne viral disease known as, I always have a tough time pronouncing this, chikungunya,
AVS Media Demo.
first detected in Africa, spread to Asia and Europe, and recently invaded the Caribbean. And it's a major problem in the Caribbean right now, so if you're planning on traveling down there, be careful. Beyond these natural threats, there's man-made threats such as biological agents
AVS Media Demo.
might escape confinement or be deliberately released to set off a pandemic. Hold on, almost done. In a good sense, then, the Obama administration, after meeting with representatives of 3 United Nations agencies in 26 countries last week, announced an
AVS Media Demo.
surveillance and the treatment of infectious diseases over the next 5 years. There's much more to be done, though. In 196 countries, although 196 countries have signed on to this international agreement, which was reached in 2005, to report outbreaks promptly.
AVS Media Demo.
Okay? And take up steps to control them. The vast majority have not complied. The odds for improvement this time around may be better. The health systems in poor countries that are still very fragile.
AVS Media Demo.
Programs to combat AIDS and other diseases, and these systems should still be expanded. A pilot project in Uganda last year, supported by the Center for Disease Control in CDC in Atlanta, Georgia.
AVS Media Demo.
Specimens from sick patients could be gathered in remote areas of the country, carried by motorcycle and overnight deliveries service to a well-equipped central laboratory, and the test results could be transmitted back by cell phone to those remote areas. A new technology is currently being tested in Uganda.
AVS Media Demo.
Like those used in pregnancy tests or urine tests to diagnose pneumonic and bubonic plague,
AVS Media Demo.
20 minutes. A relatively small investment can get this health security initiative off the ground. The Defense Department and the CDC are spending a combined $40 million this year to help detect and contain infectious disease threats in 10 countries. The administration
AVS Media Demo.
$45 million in the CDC budget for 2015. to help the situation. Congress ought to approve the money, 5-year program to extend assistance to 30 countries to protect their population would cost the U.S. about
AVS Media Demo.
which would be worth spending if the initial project proves successful. Other advanced nations need to contribute money and expertise as well. Diseases know no borders. The guy was just saying that in the video. And a health crisis, one country could easily...
AVS Media Demo.
So anyway, what it boils down to is lack of communication between countries in many cases because they simply don't have the money to monitor their own systems, or they're embarrassed by the fact that they had an outbreak and they want to stifle.
AVS Media Demo.
So a lot of politics and all that kind of stuff goes on with this. Okay, back to the viruses. Let's just review what we did last time we were together. We talked about these obligate intracellular parasites.
AVS Media Demo.
These are what are commonly considered to be acellular. What does that mean? If you had to define that word on a quiz, what do we mean by the term acellular?
AVS Media Demo.
Reproduce on their own side.
That's a description, but just the word itself, what does that tell you? A means without, so it's without a cell. It's not a cellular organism, because with a cellular organism, what do you expect?
AVS Media Demo.
Cytoplasm, organelles, all that stuff. We don't have that here. So what we do have, again, just to review what we did last week, is that we typically have some kind of a protein coat called a capsid made up of repeating
AVS Media Demo.
mirs. And inside that is going to be a nucleic acid, typically RNA or DNA. But that can get very confusing because we can have single-stranded, double-stranded, or triple-stranded. And I'm not going to make you
AVS Media Demo.
complex out of all of this. Some viruses, though, are considered to be naked. Some are considered to be enveloped. If you're an enveloped virus, you got your envelope from the cell that you attacked.
AVS Media Demo.
Reproduced you, what did it do? It pushed you out and squeezed you out, and that process was called budding. And it donated to you, that host cell donated to you that little virus.
AVS Media Demo.
But because then, the fact that we've got this membrane now on this particular virus, that means that the receptive proteins in its coat are masked. So how did it get around that? The host cell
AVS Media Demo.
to make spikes that were called for by the genes of the virus, and so now we have this spike affair. Cytoplasm, no, so we don't have that. What is the term nucleocapsid?
AVS Media Demo.
Bauman talks about that quite a bit. A nucleocapsid. It's simply another name for a what? An intact virus. What does it say? Nucleo, got DNA or RNA, capsid around the outside. So that term
AVS Media Demo.
used to simply define a virus. And then we talked about means of reproduction. And it's very simple. Bauman's got that great little diagram in your book of this.
AVS Media Demo.
And in that chapter on viruses, he talks about the methodology of how they replicate and all that. And he does a great job, so make sure you read that. It's a good summary. But let's just review it again right here. If you have an enveloped...
AVS Media Demo.
Naked virus is going to find a host cell, and it's specific to that host cell. Why? Okay, the receptor proteins on something on the host cell allow the virus to...
AVS Media Demo.
Lock and key, attach to it. So what do we call that first step then? Attachment or adsorption, either one of those terms can be used. And then what's the next step going to be? It could be actually a couple.
AVS Media Demo.
Well, if it's a naked virus, what's going to happen? It gets stuck on there, the cell gets irritated and does what? Endocytoses it, so now we've got penetration. And then what is the cell going to do? It's going to assist
AVS
that
Media
different
Demo.
thing. It's going to try to digest that code off of that. Big mistake, right? Because what it does is releases then the nucleic acid on the inside. If it's an RNA virus, what happens next? That RNA
AVS Media Demo.
RNA. messenger RNA. So all the activity then of what now? Reading the viral genes along with some enzymes that it brought with it from the past cell to kind of get things going. What are we going to start to do is synthesize.
AVS Media
All
Demo.
happens in the cytoplasm. So we synthesize all these proteins, we copy the RNA, and what's the next step? Then we put it together, assembly. And then,
AVS Media Demo.
because it's a naked virus, we release, exactly right. And what happens when we release? Okay, exactly right. We have lysis of that host cell. So that host cell has to go. It's a DNA virus.
AVS Media
You
Demo.
only find DNA in your cytoplasm. No. Where's the only place you're going to find DNA? In the nucleus. So where does it have to go? It has to enter the nucleus. That's where it's going to copy. And what it's going to do? It's going to copy more
AVS Media
all
Demo.
this stuff. So what is it also going to do? Get copied by RNA. Messenger RNA is going to come out and do all the work. And the viral DNA comes back out of the nucleus. We've assembled all the parts. We put them together.
AVS Media Demo.
And end result is after release, exactly. Burst time, burst number. So what happens then if you are an enveloped virus?
AVS Media
Gotta
Demo.
go back, gotta find the source, because and your spikes allow you to attach, right? So they stick through this membrane you got from the last cell you killed, or at least left dangerously dead, close to dying, and you find that you can attach.
AVS Media Demo.
And what do we do? Penetration again, entry. We've got to get rid of that envelope. So we strip the envelope off in some way, and then same kind of scenario. If it's an RNA virus,
AVS Media Demo.
if it's a DNA virus, it's got to send its DNA into the nucleus to get copied and all that kind of stuff, and then to assemble. End result being that as part of reading all of these viral genes, and we're synthesizing these parts, it also synthesizes these proteins that
AVS Media Demo.
of the host cell, spikes. So what happens next? After we've assembled, we've matured, and we start to get what then? We don't kill off the host cell, do we?
No.
It becomes a latent
AVS Media Demo.
lytic infection. And the latency allows this cell to do what? Pinch off these little parasites, squeeze them out, donate some of your membrane to them every time they go out, and you could do that what? For days,
AVS Media Demo.
millennia, not millennia. So, in a nutshell, that's just kind of what we talked about last time. Everybody with me? Everybody on board? Excellent. Okay, let's talk about some of these then.
AVS Media Demo.
Let me do this real quick.
AVS Media Demo.
You got something very similar to this in your text, but if you didn't bring your text with you, at least you got something to work with here.
AVS Media Demo.
We're doing over this end. Everybody got one?
AVS Media Demo.
Everybody got it?
AVS Media Demo.
Okay, if you notice on, I think you're being too kind.
AVS Media Demo.
I'd let him suffer. Anyway, if you look at this sheet, as it says at the very top, these are important human viral
AVS Media Demo.
names, types of disease, and all of that. And we're not going to go through all of these, but let's take some out and just kind of march our way through it. First of all, what you notice is that if you compare the number of DNA viruses to RNA,
AVS Media Demo.
what do you notice?
You got more RNA.
Yeah, boatloads more RNA viruses than DNA viruses. And don't quite know why that's the scenario, but it simply is. So how do we come up with classification? Well,
AVS Media Demo.
said it's a struggle, because how do you start to classify things that you don't even consider living? So what virologists have done over time is said, at first they said, well, let's just take the
AVS Media Demo.
names based on the disease they cause. But what we see is that in some cases, some very similar viruses cause very different diseases. So like the organism that, or I can't call it that, like the particle that
AVS Media Demo.
talked about that, is also very close relative to the virus that causes the common cold. So they realized that that didn't work, although we still kind of do that.
AVS Media Demo.
Viruses that are named just for the disease that they're associated with. But then the virologist said, well, let's do this. Let's just use the scheme that we've got for living things and modify it slightly, but try and follow the same.
AVS Media Demo.
Be a dichotomous key for the most part. What does that mean? Welcome back, Steve. Feel better? Good. Fluid adjustment?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
AVS Media Demo.
I mean, it's uncomfortable. It's like waking up at 2 in the morning and your body's so full and you want to sleep and you go, should I go to the bathroom or I shouldn't I? And then you lie there and then pretty soon you're awake going, might as well get up. You know?
AVS Media Demo.
Took the freedom to go out there and do that. Did you use the ladies' room because it was closer?
No,
Okay, I'll shut up here.
Didn't think of that. Maybe next time.
Any port in the storm, yeah. So
AVS Media Demo.
die, two choices. So what we see up here is with the DNA viruses, what's the first question asked? Are you enveloped or are you naked? Okay. Non-enveloped.
AVS Media Demo.
Then what's the question? Well, what's the DNA look like? Is it double-stranded? Is it double-stranded over here, or is it single-stranded? And we start to go down, we keep asking these questions, and then we start to come down to what are referred to as the families. So if you look at the
AVS
families
Media Demo.
that I was kind enough to give you, you notice that what? They all end with Viridae. See that? As you work your way all the way down from top to bottom, every family name ends with Viridae.
AVS Media Demo.
This is a family of viruses, so we don't confuse them with bacteria, with protozoans, with fungi, or anything like that. Then we actually go down into genera. So we give these viruses then a genus name out of all of this.
AVS Media Demo.
But again, for the most part, what you hear is typically like an intestinal virus or a cold virus. And so we still use common terms, and it gets confusing sometimes.
AVS Media Demo.
So if we look at the RNA viruses, what was that? Oh. Again, same scenario, enveloped.
AVS Media Demo.
Yak, yak, yak. If you follow this down a little bit farther, let's get RNA, because there are so many of them, get even more complex out of this. But what it really boils down to is then how many capsomeres do you have?
AVS Media Demo.
Would you call this a real way of what, classification, a legitimate classification? No, it's simply we came up with a system that we try to make work.
AVS Media Demo.
And what happens then is that virologists all around the world have to buy into it, so at least we know we're talking about the same bug.
So you're saying how many capsomeres are
Well, they go down farther and can differentiate between these by the number of
AVS Media Demo.
I can't remember if we talked about this before, but maybe you'll you'll remember if you saw the video that Professor Hanning showed in
AVS Media Demo.
and the band played on.
Yeah.
For those of you that did see that, if you didn't see it and didn't take your AP here, that's okay. But when, in 1980, when we knew there was some kind of an outbreak occurring around the world,
AVS Media
parts of
Demo.
Canada and England, parts of Africa and the United States, which we later referred to as being AIDS, exactly. There were two groups that were trying to find out what the causative agent was. There was a group in the United States and there was a group.
AVS Media Demo.
And what happened? They each discovered the virus, but they called it two different names. This group gave its name, this group gave its name. And we thought we had two different viruses for a long time. And that caused a major problem. Remember that from the video?
AVS Media Demo.
So what has to happen is that when we see a situation like this, the whole virology team from around the world has got to get together and go, is this new? Is it something we have not seen before, or is it simply a mutant of a
AVS Media Demo.
And let's decide on what we're going to call this thing. Okay. So let's look at some of these and talk about what they are and
AVS Media Demo.
make some comments. So, of the DNA viruses, let's make mention of the pox virus as the first one that you see on there. And you notice that
AVS Media Demo.
it does not include chickenpox. The interesting thing about the pox virus is that they are so large.
AVS Media Demo.
They're just exceptionally large viruses, and and you can see them under the light microscope at 1,000 times magnification, so you could see them in the lab if we had them around. What do we know about smallpox and cowpox? Major problem anymore for us?
AVS Media Demo.
Not. We talked a little bit about in history how that played an important role. But look at the second family there, the herpes viridae. So if you look at this, the genus, the simplex virus,
AVS Media Demo.
what do? We refer to the herpes viruses that we know as the herpes simplex viruses, and there's HSV1 and HSV2. What's the difference?
AVS Media Demo.
So number one is an oral herpes, and number two is a genital herpes, except that now we rarely consider them one or two anymore because they're so mixed up. So we rarely
AVS Media Demo.
genital herpes and strains that are purely oral herpes. Usually there's a mixture of the two of them. So we tend not to refer to them as HSV1 and 2 anymore. And we simply refer to them as a herpes simplex virus. Look what falls into this group, though.
AVS Media Demo.
And, bless you. And CMV. What do you know about CMV? CMV stands for cytomegalovirus.
AVS Media Demo.
Bless you.
AVS Media Demo.
CMV. What does the name kind of imply? Cyto means cell. Mega? Big. So this virus has something to do with creating
AVS Media Demo.
cells. And I'm going to leave that out to you. See what you can find out about CMV over break. And we come back and see if you're on the right track.
AVS Media Demo.
And chickenpox. Okay, it's the same virus, exactly. So what do we have here? We have a unique virus then because you never get rid of it.
AVS Media Demo.
By the virus, it goes to hang out in certain nerve somas, cell bodies, and initially it manifests itself by these little pox on the skin, yak, yak, yak. We've all had those, or at least you've been immunized for it and have not had them.
AVS Media Demo.
What is the risk then if you contract the chickenpox? Is that it shows latency, meaning that at any time later on, they can travel out of those somas, typically where? Somas
AVS Media Demo.
Face and back. Yes.
So now, well, not now, but like about a couple months ago, I saw the commercial for the shingles vaccine for older people. How does that work?
AVS Media Demo.
Booster
Okay.
for people who are elderly, because it can be devastating if people are elderly. Shingles, you don't die from shingles typically, but it's so uncomfortable and so painful for those who have had it. That it's
AVS Media Demo.
for some.
There's a lot of nerve damage to the brain sometimes.
Yeah, and it can be, or at least it's thought to be. And that's still a question mark in terms of whether it actually causes that
AVS Media Demo.
in the central nervous system. But we know it harbors itself there. Yeah.
So if you take the vaccine and you never get the virus, you get the actual pox
Mhm.
itself, do you have to, you need to take the
AVS Media Demo.
older?
What they've seen so far is that this chickenpox vaccine or shingles vaccine produces a long-term titer. What does that mean? Titer?
AVS Media Demo.
Yeah, we check the blood for the presence of antibody. And if we find that the antibody is still significant after 2, 4, 6, and 10, 15 years, it means that the vaccine works exceptionally well. So you end up with a good
AVS Media Demo.
out of your B cells. That's what it amounts to, yeah.
When I started this school and had to go get all my vaccines
Yep.
and stuff, I had to get a booster,
Yep.
for the chicken pox.
Mhm.
I've never had them, but I needed a booster.
Yep.
AVS Media Demo.
Vaccine, they tend to work long-term for 90% of the people, and there are always a couple of people whose immune system says, for some reason, they get together and go, I'm not gonna remember this. So that the B cells go, then I'm not gonna waste.
AVS Media Demo.
Promise me you won't memorize them. And they have this conversation in your lymph nodes.
So for someone like me who's had the chicken pox, I should have have a.
Yes, which you should, and it doesn't mean you're gonna get rid of that virus.
Right.
It simply means
AVS Media Demo.
tuned for the fact that if those viruses decide to migrate out of those somas in the central nervous system and migrate to peripheral areas on your back or your face, the chances are that you're not going to have as bad a consequence from it. So it's a good idea.
AVS Media Demo.
Okay, let's keep moving on down. Hepatina viridae.
Having to do with the liver.
Exactly. So what we see then, this is one of the
AVS Media Demo.
hepatitis viruses. But if you look all the way down through the sheet, what you'll notice is that the hep viruses do not all fall into the same family. They're not all even in the same group. DNA viruses or
AVS Media Demo.
So when we use the term hepatitis virus, it simply means a virus which is going to somehow have diverse effects on the liver. That's all it means. And what's the scoop with ABCD?
AVS Media Demo.
Exactly. The order in which they were identified. So it's not like A is worse than C or B is worse than F or something like that.
AVS Media Demo.
They all have their own special needs, so within that family, they all are transmitted in the same way.
AVS Media
Okay, so
Demo.
what do we got there? We got hepatitis B, which we simply refer to as the HBV, which is sometimes referred to as serum hepatitis. So where does that one tend to show up in this hospital?
AVS Media Demo.
If you were to come down with it in the hospital, most likely you got it because of somebody said it, needle stick. Yeah. Or you could, if you came in, and you could get it for a transfusion, although blood is now monitored.
AVS Media Demo.
Nurses are going to pick it up from a needle stick. Go ahead.
I wondering too about that. Last week, I saw a delivery and the nurse
AVS Media Demo.
was, kind of she helped clean up or whatever you want to say. Well, anyway, birthed the uterus, whatever you want to say. And when she changed her gloves, she pulled them off.
AVS Media Demo.
And so all of her blood was on her. Will she get hepatitis? Or,
There has to be a portal of entry.
okay.
Yeah. So it's simply being splashed, but it doesn't mean you're going to get it. There's got to be a portal of entry for it to get inside.
AVS Media Demo.
You got a small cut on your hand.
Sure, and
Yeah.
that's a portal of entry.
I mean, that's why we do wear gloves.
Exactly. The papillary papilla,
AVS Media Demo.
words. What's the scoop with warts? I mean, they fall into a variety of categories. There's a common wart, we've got plantar warts, we've got genital warts.
AVS Media Demo.
I don't want any of them.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, the genital warts are the ones that are most difficult to treat typically, largely because the area in which they decide to attach and grow is usually soft tissue,
AVS Media Demo.
and it's painful to have them removed. But common warts, they show up on your fingers, most people have them there. And what do you tend to find with these? They tend to run in families.
AVS Media Demo.
Why would that be the case? Is it genetic?
They have an immune system.
Or is it just the fact that you got one person shedding the viruses?
AVS Media Demo.
Yeah, and you don't really know for sure, but it seems that some people are genetically prone to being attacked by the virus, more so than others. And so that may be one of the reasons why that the receptors in certain families are there.
AVS Media Demo.
You find mother and son, daughter getting it, but the husband doesn't, and that kind of thing.
Why do they say it comes from frogs?
Does that really happen? You know, some people say, if you touch a frog, you get warts.
So,
AVS Media Demo.
because toads have these typical kind of growths on their skin that look like warts. Did you know that the earth revolves on itself?
AVS Media Demo.
RNA viruses. The pico-RNA viridae. Look at the name itself and it tells you something about it. Pico means small, means little or small. Pico
AVS Media Demo.
RNA virus, that's all the term means. And look what falls into this category. Okay, yep, there's our friend. And so you see polio, and you go, wait a minute, polio is an intentional
AVS Media Demo.
The answer to that is absolutely yes. Because when you get infected, you get it from usually contaminated water or food. And most people think that, well, there's got to be some other portal of entry because
AVS Media Demo.
it attacks neurological tissue that innervates skeletal muscle. And yet it's picked up from water. Well, what's the scoop of Sabin and salt?
AVS Media Demo.
I read you that little thing before. Who was who and what was what with Sabin and Salk? To repeat this, on this very day in 1954, the first mass inoculation of school children using the Salk polio vaccine.
AVS Media Demo.
And if you look in your textbook, it's got this, Bauman's got this nice little chart in there that shows the differences between Salk and Sabin. Somebody look it up real quick in the back. Look under either Salk or Sabin, it'll take it.
AVS Media Demo.
They were two different kinds of vaccines. Who did it locally?
Sabin,
Sabin was local, working out of,
children's.
yeah, and before University of Pittsburgh.
Here we go.
AVS Media Demo.
The chart shows you the difference between Salk and Sabin vaccine. You got the page?
So, here we go.
Right there.
710.
Okay, so. let's-
AVS Media Demo.
What were the advantages of Salk's vaccine?
It is effective and inexpensive, is stable during transport and storage, poses no risk of vaccine-related disease.
Reason for that, easy to transport. It doesn't-
AVS Media Demo.
Keep it refrigerated at all time. You can't get the disease from the vaccine because the viruses are killed. Now you wait a minute, you can't kill a virus because it's not living in the first place.
AVS Media Demo.
Means that the virus was destroyed, but what was left behind? Enough of its capsid to allow for your body to say the thing is here. So it's looking for, an antigen, and so you get.
AVS Media Demo.
What's the scoop with Sabin?
Secretory antibodies response similar to natural infection.
Okay.
It's easier to
AVS Media Demo.
result in herd immunity.
Okay. So what was the difference? What did Sabin do? He came up with a vaccine which was considered to be living. So what he did was
AVS Media Demo.
polio vaccine, or the polio virus, so that it was still intact, but it couldn't complete its life cycle. And he did that by running it through host
AVS Media Demo.
using mice and rabbits and everything like that until it mutated to the point where it still elicited a very strong response. As it says there, you get a typical, as if you really had the disease, but the virus couldn't cause the disease anymore.
AVS Media Demo.
In what way? Sabin, you got it by what? Shot in the arm.
Yeah, I still have mine.
Salk, you got it by the little sugary cube or the little sugary syrup.
AVS Media Demo.
Administer. The problem was, because these were still intact, sometimes it was difficult to transport these. And one of the other problems that occurred early on
AVS Media Demo.
viruses that were actually considered to be now mutant form had actually reverted back to a live virulent form, and some people actually got the disease from that. So what happened was we finally perfected.
AVS Media Demo.
Find out now is that actually a mixture of Sabin and Salk gives you a better response than either one alone. The problem with these two guys is that they hated each other. And they.
AVS Media Demo.
Sabin resented the fact that Salk resented the fact that Sabin came up with this, which was considered to be a better vaccine than his. And I heard the two of them talk over at Children's, I guess 20 years ago, 25 years ago.
AVS Media Demo.
Sat on the dais next to each other and ignored each other completely, as if the other person didn't exist. They talked around him as if saying that if, Sabin were here, and he's sitting right next to him, so-and-so, so-and-so. It was ugly.
AVS Media Demo.
Okay, so we know what it does, and what's the problem with that today? And who's spending more money than anybody else to try and rid this planet of this disease? Gates.
AVS Media Demo.
With more money than they know what to do with. And so they're coming up with a method for hopefully to provide enough vaccine that everybody on the planet gets vaccinated. We get rid of this disease like we did with smallpox.
AVS Media Demo.
Some people still refuse to get their children in.
Exactly, that's one of them. There's still this factor in the educated world that said that immunizations are just wrong, and sometimes for religious reasons, and I can understand.
AVS Media Demo.
I can't understand that, because your next door neighbor told you that, and you believe your next door neighbor more than you would someone who does the research, but your next door neighbor's got a 4th grade education.
AVS Media Demo.
They just assume because my neighbor told me, or I saw it, or I Googled it, and this is what I read. This has got to be God's truth.
Nigeria.
Is that what I'm saying?
Nigeria.
Okay, so go into Africa.
AVS Media Demo.
Nigeria, the same thing is happening right now in Pakistan and in Iraq and Afghanistan. Yeah, what are these white folks from
AVS Media Demo.
do to us? And what they're doing is actually giving us stuff that's going to harm our women in the long run, or our children, and so on and so on. So what's happening to health workers who are trying to administer these pills? They get shot, and they're
AVS Media Demo.
administering polio vaccine. Because there's this fear that this is a Western kind of an insult on their people to try and get rid of them in one form or another, to give them disease or do whatever. So it poses their political
AVS Media Demo.
from happening. Yeah.
On the other side, that has been something white people have done to
Oh.
other countries for a long time, so
Sure.
it's not so.
No, and exactly right. You're absolutely right.
AVS Media Demo.
Culture
Countries,
has done some terrible things. We used Eastern European kids for a long time as experimental animals. Street kids, urchins, you know, around.
AVS Media Demo.
Sue us. You know, want a candy bar, little kid? Get the vaccine.
Test that instead of spreading the propaganda about it. They can take our vaccines and test them and say, oh, there is no AIDS in here. Blah, blah.
people spreading
But part of the problem is,
AVS Media Demo.
Or ability to do that. That can be done. The people spreading the propaganda probably
No, that's my
don't have the
point.
means.
No, they have the means. They've got scientists. They're just, it's their government.
it's a tough situation. It's a really,
AVS Media Demo.
and as much money as Bill and Melinda throw into it, which is millions upon millions of dollars, to the point where we've got plenty of vaccine to be distributed. Just can't get it to the people who need it. Where was the latest outbreak of polio?
AVS Media Demo.
Where we've got, what, 2 million people that are trying to flee from getting shot and killed and bombed. And polio is breaking out where they're in these little refugee camps. So it's a sad
AVS Media Demo.
where there's what? In the world, where there are political disruptions, that kind of stuff going on. Well, what else do we find in the pico-RNA viridae? The Coxsackie viruses, which is hand, foot, and mouth.
AVS Media Demo.
Hoof and mouth or foot and mouth, but it's hand, foot, and mouth. Where does the name come from? And we'll see this in several occasions. Coxsackie virus.
AVS Media Demo.
Virus does, get blisters on your hands, feet, and mouth.
Good guess, but the Coxsackie part, yeah, you're right there. The Coxsackie, it was first discovered in Coxsackie, New Jersey. That's where the name came from.
AVS Media
What
Demo.
else falls in here? We got our Hep A, and probably half the room here has been exposed to Hep A at one point or another, because how do you pick it up? You get the cold, you get the symptoms, we all get them.
AVS Media Demo.
Sometimes it's worse than others. But then, why do you keep getting cold back? Good guess? Yes.
AVS Media Demo.
Are 100+ different strains of the rhinovirus, which means that you could get one for every year, right, if you're going to live to 100. So you always hear this scenario, well, I got my cold back. No, you didn't get your
AVS Media Demo.
for one of these viruses is typically 5 to 7 days. So if you got a cold back, it was a different strain. So somebody else sneezed on you again in the elevator. So that's why we use proper respiratory etiquette,
AVS Media Demo.
things like that. Okay, let's break here. Let's go for 15. I'll meet you back in. We got a lot of stuff to do yet. See if you can find out what CMV is.
AVS Media Demo.
Yeah, I'll make them give it to you. Thanks for reminding
AVS Media Demo. AVS Media Demo.
Saturday night, I'm like,
What was it?
It was a question about a PIC line, but we had a question for her, and she just texted.
Okay, what'd you learn about CMV?
everybody.
AVS Media Demo.
Normal cold, but what's it?
Okay, and in terms of people probably estimates are at least 50% of the Western population have this.
AVS Media Demo.
Found where? Where does the name come from and how can you tell you've got it? Has to do with
AVS Media Demo.
cell kind of fusion in the cervix. So that with a cervical swab, you take a look at that, you get these abnormal cells. Usually they call it an owl's eye, kind of an inclusion that occurs in those cells.
AVS Media Demo.
To whom? Neonates. So they pick it up from their mother in the birthing process, and or even in utero. And it's
AVS Media Demo.
virally, I should say, the number one viral cause of congenital defects. Everything from microcephaly to just abnormal arms, legs. It's
AVS Media Demo.
to be reckoned with. It's an important one. The child can even pick it up still if it came out with a normal birth, can pick it up from mother's milk and so on.
AVS Media Demo.
More prone to infection than are others. Where it otherwise shows up, and this is where I thought maybe most of you would know about it, is that it shows up in AIDS patients, immunocompromised, quite commonly come down with some type of a CMV infection.
AVS Media Demo.
With Kaposi sarcoma and all the rest of those diseases you associate with AIDS. So, but you hadn't heard that before? As long as we're dealing with,
AVS Media Demo.
how many of you had mono? Okay. How many of you may have had mono? But more than half of you probably should raise your hand because you probably did it one form or another. What do you know about that, and where does that?
AVS Media Demo.
It's very dead. That should be included up there, but it's not. What do we call this virus? EBV?
AVS Media Demo.
Bar virus, Epstein-Barr virus. What's the scoop with that one? It falls on the same group. Should have mentioned it before when we were up there. So we're kind of jumping back real quick.
Under which group, I'm sorry?
Herpes viridae.
AVS Media Demo.
So mono is that?
Yeah, it's caused by that virus, which is back up on top again on herpes viridae. So as long as we jump back to CMV, I thought I'd throw Epstein-Barr.
AVS Media Demo.
What do you know about it? I mean, some people get very mild cases of it, of the disease, the malaise that typically goes with that. They think they've got a cold or something like that. And other people just get devastated by it. You know, and they're
AVS Media Demo.
weeks at a time, and so weak they can't get out of bed and all that syndrome. And yet it can be even fatal. So it's much like CMV. You can either have mild effects and everybody's kind of carrying the bug around them, or you can have severe effects.
AVS Media Demo.
I've got a, which I'll pass out in lab this week as a case study on that one. We can spend some more time talking about it. Okay, let's jump back down to where we were before. RNA viruses, the picoRNA viridae.
AVS Media Demo.
So on. Let's move down. Let's get out of that one, and let's go to the Calciviridae. And here's our friend. So in the Calciviridae, there's the Norwalk virus, sometimes called
AVS Media Demo.
sometimes it's called this, the noroviruses. Got its name because the correct name is the Norwalk virus.
AVS Media Demo.
Got its name from first being discovered in Norwalk, Ohio. That was where it was first isolated. So what's the scoop of this guy? The norovirus? Yeah.
AVS Media Demo.
The number one cause. In fact, I shouldn't say it probably is. It is the number one cause for viral gastroenteritis, by far. Again, having, in some individuals, having a
AVS Media Demo.
kind of an effect, a 1 or 2 day kind of a thing with loose bowel, to extreme diarrhea and all of that. So the nursing home, we've got a whole bunch of people who are in close proximity to one another. It's wintertime.
AVS Media Demo.
What's happening is the virus is then just keeps circulating inside, doesn't get a chance to be filtered out or just to dilute out with open windows. It's a prime time for these kinds of things to occur. Plus the fact that in a nursing home, you got people who are immunocompromised
AVS Media Demo.
at this point in their life for a variety of reasons. So it's not unusual for them to pick this up. And how is it picked up?
People not washing their hands.
Yeah, that and just people sneezing, sharing food.
AVS Media Demo.
There's all kinds of ways that it can be done. What oftentimes happens, though, is that you find that there's, again, an index case. Somebody came in carrying the virus and proceeded to spread it through, whether it was somebody visiting one of the people in the nursing home or something like that.
AVS Media Demo.
Scenario, or a cook. If they share, you go into a cafeteria and they share meals together. But I don't know the situation with that nursing home. Does anybody else know? Were these people basically bedridden? No?
It's like
AVS Media Demo.
So they probably are having communal meals. And boy, that's an even better place for this stuff to spread. Yeah.
Yeah, except for the Grace, we weren't letting anybody out of their rooms.
Yeah. So they're doing isolation right now.
I'm not sure.
And
AVS Media Demo.
80% of all the gastroenteritis virally caused comes from this particular bug. And you've all had it. Everybody in this room, I guarantee you, has had this bug before. Okay, let's forget the togas right now.
AVS Media Demo.
Very day. See the next family down? You've all seen Animal House, right?
It has something to do with the way that it's
AVS Media Demo.
like, the way it's enveloped or something like that.
Well, if you were to wear a toga
Right.
and you were a virus, you probably could get to stay on, but you could put on an
AVS Media Demo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right, yeah.
Okay. Or is that what you were trying to tell
That's
me?
what I was trying to say,
Okay.
yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, I didn't listen very closely. So I take full responsibility for that miscommunication.
AVS Media Demo.
You know what that is. The Flava Viridae. We need to talk about this one right now because of what's referred to as dengue fever. What do you know about dengue fever? Dengue fever. And you probably no because you didn't know what it was.
AVS Media Demo.
Everybody donates blood, right? Good. So sometimes it's called breakbone fever. What do you know about it? Where are the greatest number of incidences of this disease occurring in the Western civilization?
AVS Media Demo.
The Caribbean, but now into Florida and Louisiana and Mississippi and Alabama. It has a vector, which happens to be a certain,
AVS Media Demo.
which was pretty much limited to Central America and the Caribbean because of temperature ranges. But now, since there is this slow, but seemingly insignificant, but significant to the mosquitoes, they are migrating north and carrying,
AVS Media Demo.
which is debilitating because it sets up an arthritic condition, and the reason they call it break bone, because it seems like when you simply move, bones break because the pain is so severe.
AVS Media Demo.
It's a disease to be reckoned with. You're going to see more and more cases that beginning to show up. So if you go to the Caribbean, Cancun, or any of those places, make sure you use mosquito stuff. Yeah.
Anytime a vector is mentioned,
Mhm.
anytime,
AVS Media Demo.
I said, as in, yeah.
I thought you meant,
Anytime a vector is mentioned,
yes. It always seems to be a mosquito. Are there other common
Sure.
vectors?
sure there are.
Ticks.
Can be a tick, can be certain other.
AVS Media Demo.
Chagas disease is caused by something called a kissing disease, a kissing bug, because the bug comes down at night and likes to get a bite right here at the corner of the lip, because it's soft tissue and it's usually moist.
AVS Media Demo.
Crawling up at night, it looks like they're giving you a little kiss, but what they're doing is the female's getting this blood meal again, and she is biting a hole in your lip to get the blood meal and injects these particular bugs into you. The Chagas disease is the same as African sleep,
AVS Media Demo.
except it's a New World version of that. It's what killed Darwin, Charles Darwin. All this information, too much information for your head. Put it all in there. Let's forget the Bunyaviridae.
AVS Media Demo.
Filoviridae. There's our friend. And Marburg. Remember Marburg in the video? Named after Marburg, Germany, where there was that outbreak, remember, from the monkey thing?
AVS Media
We
Demo.
know all about them already, so we don't have to spend time talking about that, because God bless you. Let's go down to the Orthomyxoviridae. The influenza virus.
AVS Media Demo.
This is an interesting bug because you'll always hear about type A or type B influenza. And if you've got your text with you, and if not, at least write down this page because Bowman does a great job, absolutely wonderful.
AVS Media Demo.
I can find it, there it is, on page 735 in the latest edition. And the question then is, what's the difference between influenza A and influenza B?
AVS Media Demo.
Does anybody know? Well, if you look in the handouts that you got here, what do you notice? It lists examples of type A as Asian, Hong Kong, swine. It goes on and on and on. And
AVS Media Demo.
particular influenza diseases, or those outbreaks.
They were widespread and
Okay, they were a pandemic for the most part,
Pandemic.
or potentially pandemic. And then
AVS Media Demo.
so obviously type A, there's something different about influenza type A and influenza type B. And influenza type B, let's deal with this one first.
AVS Media Demo.
Strain of flu that's around all the time. And the reason that it's around all the time is because it mutates very slowly. So if you've got page 735 open in your text, it talks about, it follows that particular
AVS Media Demo.
attacks a host, and it may or may not mutate a little bit in there, but gets released from the host again, so on and so on. And it's pretty typical kind of viral attack on a host cell.
AVS Media Demo.
Inside the host, sometimes some very minor mutations can occur, so we get a slight variation from this that may or may not have provided an immune response, and so you may get symptoms of that again. But it undergoes what we refer to.
AVS Media Demo.
Great job when he discusses all this stuff in that whole thing of an antigenic drift. And antigenic drift is the situation in which there is a
AVS Media Demo.
drift implies what? Slight modification from the norm. Antigenic, something to do with
AVS Media Demo.
So what we got is a minor change in the virus, and it still produces an antigenic response. So it's an antigen, but it's a slight change in the antigen, really, is what it amounts to. But usually,
AVS Media
those
Demo.
minor changes that occur in type B influenza, we still have a good memory for, and we can match those pretty well. So we seldom come down with that influenza kind of a situation again that we had one time, which we probably thought was.
AVS Media Demo.
But with type A influenza, it's a whole different game because they undergo what we refer to as an antigenic shift. And
AVS Media Demo.
when we think of the annual flu shot that we get, and if you ever look at the, always get the sheet of paper that comes out of the box after they give you your shot.
AVS Media Demo.
Take a look at that. And it will tell you exactly what vaccines are in there and for what specific viruses. And this past one, I think, was for, save the sheet.
AVS Media Demo.
I think for 3 different viruses, maybe 4, but it was at least 3 different viruses. And if you look at those, you'll see that the viruses, when it describes the virus as H something, N something,
AVS Media
name
Demo.
after it, like Sydney. And what would that mean? Sydney, Australia?
No.
Yes, exactly, Sydney, Australia. Or
AVS
it could say
Media
something like
Demo.
Hong Kong. Whatever. And so what do those are places, right? So the question is, and typically they come out of the Southeast Asia.
AVS Media Demo.
Not always, but in many cases they do. So the question is, well, what's going on here? Well, when we take a look at Group A, influenza, the bird flu, put these pieces together.
AVS
What we've got
Media
in
Demo.
Southeast Asia, from China all the way down through the Indonesian islands, down into Australia, is we have incredibly large populations of pigs and people and birds. Birds, loads of
AVS Media Demo.
just more chicken than you could shake a stick at. Ducks, prime, lots of waterfowl. And what we end up with then is a situation where here is a cell,
AVS Media
and this
Demo.
could be in a chicken, it could be in a pig, it could be anything. Here comes one strain in, strain number 1. Here comes strain number 2. They're both similar to one another. This one caused a pandemic 3 years ago.
AVS Media Demo.
5 years ago. They both enter, and in the process of copying the genetic information and putting it all together, we mix the genes of the two.
AVS Media Demo.
Strain, a virus that no one has ever seen before. Usually, these run through pigs and then back to birds and back to pigs and back to birds. And the key
AVS Media Demo.
a dangerous influenza virus is whether or not this new strain that comes out of this, which has got a mixture of the other two, can then also, we know it can go into attack chickens and ducks,
AVS Media Demo.
jump into humans. And if it can in turn then jump into the human population, then we got a problem. And it's always what the World Health Organization does every year by taking a look at what viruses showed up
AVS Media Demo.
we haven't seen before. So we got somebody who gets really sick on this chicken raising farm in South Vietnam or in Vietnam and dies. Somebody fortunately took a sample, tissue sample,
AVS Media Demo.
sent it off to the WHO. They check it out and they go, whoa, we got a strain of virus we've never seen before. Then they start to say, okay, we're going to focus on this area and look for other cases of this. If no other cases show up, they'll go probably dead end.
AVS Media Demo.
Whoa, everybody in the family now is getting sick, and the neighbors are getting sick, and the guy who helps them clean out the chicken coops is sick, and then they go, we got a problem. And so what they'll do is monitor that, and after the number of
AVS Media Demo.
disease reaches a certain level, they go, we've got a situation where we need to vaccinate. So what they'll do then is send that virus, and it gets sent to labs around the world, and what do? Those virology labs start to grow these viruses.
AVS Media Demo.
Chicken eggs. Remember, it's got to have a living cell, got to have a living cell. So it won't grow on an agar plate. So they grow them in chicken eggs, and in turn, they grow massive numbers of these viruses.
AVS Media Demo.
They've got to somehow do what to the virus? They're going to manipulate it so that it can't cause the disease, but still will elicit an immune response. So either by killing or by attenuating.
AVS Media Demo.
So it could be a killed virus in which they actually destroy the virus, but they leave enough chunks of its capsid to elicit a response, or attenuating, an attenuated virus, which means
AVS Media Demo.
virus, but what have we done to it? Altered it so it can't produce disease.
So that process of the 1 and 2 mixing together is the antigenic shift.
AVS Media Demo.
major shift, because what we've done is mixed genetic information in that chicken or that pig. So it's a mixture of two previous viruses that now we have interlinked.
AVS Media Demo.
So it wasn't just a simple point mutation, which we would see with a bee with the drift, slight variation that may not mean anything, but in this case, it's a major change in the genetic information in that virus. And they're looking right now for next fall.
AVS Media Demo.
What's showing up. And what have they seen so far? There have been now about 200 cases of, have you followed in the news at all? About bird flu. This new strain of bird flu.
AVS Media Demo.
So what does this have to do with, H1N1? H1, H5N7. What do those numbers mean?
Does that mean like the different virus, different numbers of the virus?
AVS Media Demo.
How many different mixtures that you had?
Not in this case. God bless you. We're all gonna die.
AVS Media Demo.
What,
Order in which it was discovered?
no, in this particular case, it has to do with a specific type of a protein. And this is, H stands for hemagglutinin and N stands for neuraminidase. The important thing is these are antigens.
AVS Media Demo.
And they tend to be a certain number of H's that we've seen, and a certain number of N's, and the mixture we're putting together.
What are
So,
they called again? What
This
do they
is,
stand for?
they're called hemagglutinins.
AVS Media Demo.
And I'm not asking you to memorize that term. This is a neuraminidase, but these refer to actually specific proteins on the virus. So we got these H kind of proteins now out there, and on its capsid,
AVS Media
and we've got
Demo.
these N kind of proteins on its capsid, and we know that there are probably 12, 10, 11 of each of these, and it's just the mix of these. So, if we go back to the Hong Kong flu, remember, what was the scoop of the Hong Kong flu?
AVS Media Demo.
When was the last major one?
It was 2000 I have to remember. I was sick for a month.
I'm trying to remember.
AVS Media Demo.
Dates
I'm
on
trying to
that.
remember how old my kids were. They were little. Let's see.
Yeah, but what happened with the bird flu? What was that, 5 years ago? Remember that?
Has it really
Yeah,
been that
it's been
long?
4 or 5 years.
Really?
Yeah.
AVS Media Demo.
I gave a talk to the alumni because they asked me to explain what that was. So we got through this kind of lecture with them. And then I got a letter the next year saying, obviously you were wrong.
AVS Media Demo.
Well, the reason that it wasn't such a major problem was that we all got immunized.
Right.
And so what you do is if you have enough of the herd immunized, you end up with something called herd immunity, and we're part of the herd.
AVS Media Demo.
Yeah.
So, once you get, like, I had the Hong Kong flu, once you get that, do you have the antibodies, or is it just, it means that you're more susceptible for other?
You have the antibodies for that
AVS
strain,
Media
that
Demo.
H protein and that N protein only.
Okay.
But we do know what happens is, because these are really simple and similar all along, the new strains that show up, should you get it because you didn't want to get the flu shot,
AVS Media Demo.
better case of it than you would if you had never been exposed before. So we know that there's some carryover immunity that goes with each of these.
I just remember I was sick as
And,
a dog.
and if you get this flu,
AVS Media Demo.
it often gets, as I mentioned before, is type B is diagnosed as a cold, just a bad cold. I got a summer cold. Hell no, you don't get flu. But most people don't realize.
AVS Media Demo.
And they are in bed for 3 or 4 days because this one usually doesn't kick your petunia like this one will. Yep.
So what's the difference between shift and drift?
Okay. It's a good question. In an antigenic drift, it means there's just a minor
AVS Media Demo.
in the genome, which means that, and the genome meaning the DNA or RNA, in this case it's RNA, which means that the virus now which leaves the host cell is going to be slightly different.
AVS Media Demo.
On the other hand, an antigenic shift, which doesn't happen all the time, but when it does happen, and it can jump over into humans, causes major problems, because this is a major,
AVS Media Demo.
it's a mutation, a major mutation. You okay? Good. And with a major mutation like that, it means that these numbers are going to vary dramatically. This could be
AVS Media Demo.
and 11. And nobody around here has seen one of those for quite a while, which means that if we don't get vaccinated, the chances are a whole bunch of us are going to get sick. So this is a major genetic change. This is a minor change.
AVS Media Demo.
Actually, it's the other way around, sorry. Major, minor. Okay? Great question. Yes, dear.
You know with the H1N1, how they were saying that like people that work in the healthcare field had to have the flu shot.
AVS Media Demo.
Since we work or like go to school in the hospital, are we included in that?
Yeah, we all got ours.
No, like if it happened again, like if it would be like another outbreak.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So let's draw a scenario.
AVS Media Demo.
Right now is this new bird flu that's showing up in Southeast Asia. So we've got 200 plus people who have come down with this strain already. It's one that we have not seen before. So the question is,
AVS Media Demo.
for that right now or not? Because the worst scenario would be, one of those guys gets on a plane heading for Chinatown in New York to visit his family and shows no symptoms when he gets on the plane, but
AVS Media Demo.
symptomatic before that long flight gets there, and by this time he's coughing and sneezing a little bit, and people all around him now are sucking in the air from this thing, and he gets off and goes into Chinatown, tremendously crowded, Manhattan, Lower Manhattan.
AVS Media Demo.
What you've got then is this guy shedding these viruses all over the place, and pretty soon we don't have 200 people in Southeast Asia, we've got 200,000 people in the metropolitan New York area. And we haven't made vaccine yet. And it's
AVS Media Demo.
hands down. So worst case scenario is that we make vaccine that we don't use. Best case scenario is that we have reacted appropriately.
AVS Media Demo.
Said, let's make the vaccine because we think this is a good guess. And it's always a guess when they decide which strains to put in the vaccine. It's always a guess.
Can viruses survive on like inanimate objects?
AVS Media Demo.
Okay, so like if a assembly worker in China coughs on something and it gets shipped to some little kid, they touch it, they can.
It's the exact same scenario. So what you remember from the Ebola film, what did it tell you about Ebola?
AVS Media Demo.
Long periods of time on fomites. What's a fomite? Look at the person next to you. Would you call that person an inanimate fomite?
Some
AVS Media Demo.
Fomite refers to anything which is not living, like your coffee cup, your pen, your pencil, the doorknob, the desktop, anything like that. So we've got some viruses that live quite well from days to months on the old doorknob.
AVS Media Demo.
HIV, which doesn't live very long at all. It gets destroyed rather quickly when it's left on the floor or something like that. So even though we dump Clorox on it, it doesn't last long there at all. It degrades rather quickly.
AVS Media Demo.
Okay, back to our list. God, this is exciting. Well, let's throw out the paramyxoviridae.
AVS Media Demo.
Through this, what do you kind of notice? Measles and mumps. So most of your childhood diseases come out of the paramyxoviridae.
AVS Media Demo.
What? Chicken pox up at the top. Hello.
Quick question.
Sure.
I noticed that parainfluenza is under this grouping. What exactly is that?
Somebody take a guess.
AVS Media Demo.
like.
It's exactly what it is. It produces influenza-like symptoms. Para means next to, So it's similar to the typical influenza, and it's most typical to influenza type B.
AVS Media Demo.
Viruses. I mean, like the mumps and measles, you can get like flu-like type symptoms.
And say that again.
We have flu-like type symptoms.
Sure, with loads of these
Yeah,
things.
like with the mumps and measles, I mean, you get those fevers.
Yep.
chills, and all.
And so.
AVS Media Demo.
For a bunch of these. RSV, what do you know about that one?
It's babies.
Yes, tell me all you know.
Oh, that's a loaded question. I work with it.
Okay, then tell us all you know.
So, it's
I'll give you a lollipop if you do.
basically we
AVS Media Demo.
If we were full-term babies, our lungs were developed, our respiratory system was developed enough to where it was probably misdiagnosed as a common cold.
Mhm.
But if you're a twin, a multiple birth baby, a premature baby.
AVS Media Demo.
to the side effects of RSV, which can lead to death. So
Yep.
we give babies a prophylactic dose of Synagis every 28 days during RSV season.
And again, your prophylactic treatment is what?
Synagis is
Okay.
AVS Media
it's not a
Demo.
vaccine, because they can still get RSV
Mhm.
when they have Synagis, but it's just to decrease the effects
Yeah, and
of RSV.
I'm not sure how that drug, anybody know how that drug works?
They have to take it every 28 days. It
Yeah,
doesn't
I
have
knew
a
it.
long shelf life.
It's spelled
AVS Media Demo.
AGIS.
Somebody got a smartphone, look that one up. Let's find out what the mode of action of that particular drug is. That's a good point, thank you very much, well done. But it can be fatal.
AVS Media Demo.
Those little guys. But what are the chances that everybody in this room is probably carrying that virus?
It's very.
Pretty good,
very
yep, exactly. Rhabdoviridase, just for your intellectual benefit.
AVS Media Demo.
Anybody listening to NPR yesterday afternoon, by chance? They had this rather long, was it yesterday? It was Saturday.
AVS Media Demo.
Coming back from the UC game. And they were talking about this case of a young girl who was bit by the bat.
AVS Media
Did you
Demo.
hear that wrong?
No.
Because in the case of rabies, where do you get it? You get it from a rabid animal, correct? Some kind of mammal, and typically it's going to be a dog, decides to gnaw on your leg. Or it could be a fox.
AVS Media Demo.
You have raccoons or bats. And the scenario with this one was, well, tell me what you know about rabies.
It's passive.
Okay, so you get a scratch or bite from some animal that's infected, and what happens to you?
AVS Media Demo.
You start going crazy.
You go into contracture, and you foam at the mouth, and your hydro
AVS Media Demo.
enough water. And at the same time, you don't like bright lights, you like to be left in the dark, and so on and so on. And what are the chances of survival?
You get this.
AVS Media Demo.
With increased studies, they found out that some people have survived the viral attack. And with this particular scenario, I don't want to dwell on this too long. The situation was this, and it shows you kind of how you always have to look at the entire situation before you make.
AVS Media Demo.
So the girl was, they were in church. There was a bat flying around in church, and it landed down by her
AVS Media Demo.
side to let it go, and it bit her.
So you don't want to.
She was an animal lover. She was an animal lover. And so she starts to come down with the syndromes again, where she's losing muscle control.
AVS Media Demo.
And so on and so on, and has this incredible thirst, but at the same time can't swallow the water, and which they always
AVS Media Demo.
just didn't want water, it tasted bad or something like that, but now we realize that what it is that the muscles in your oropharyngeal region lock up and you can't swallow. And that's why people take water and spit right back out again.
AVS Media Demo.
At all. and they like to be put in the dark because they're photophobic, then at that point the light hurts their eyes and so on, and then they slowly die this agonizing death. So there was a doctor that they were working with.
AVS Media Demo.
Let's try a variety of things, and I can't remember what all he did. He tried a heat treatment, and he tried this and that, and so on and so on. I have to go look and see what he did. But the point was, they called it a cure. And so then they had
AVS Media Demo.
this cure because he did these 3 things to alleviate the symptoms, so it's a yak, yak, yak. But then they tried it on other people who had contracted rabies, and it didn't work. So the point was the cure
AVS Media Demo.
was somehow her immune system was capable of fighting back, and after months and months and months, she did come back with a slow kind of a recovery. But that's why for a while we thought we had this cure for rabies. It was like 2 years ago.
AVS Media Demo.
True. So what does it tell you? Trust us? No.
No.
So what do they give you if you get bit by something, like what do they give you in the ear? They give you a rabies shot in your butt.
Yeah. So what they're going to do is give you gamma globulin.
AVS Media Demo.
So you get a artificial passive type of an immunity.
So what if the person does have it, what does it do?
They still die?
No, the gamma globulin will try to. Oh, you're talking about-
AVS Media Demo.
Or whatever they give you if you go into an ER to get bit by a dog.
Oh, yeah, there's a vaccine that's out there that's very effective.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but if you have not been vaccinated though, and you come down, then they'll do the gamma globulin shots along with the vaccine.
AVS Media Demo.
Vaccinate for rabies?
My wife was bit by a squirrel a few years ago when she was at Miami University. She had to get like a series of like 6 or 8 shots.
Yeah, it's.
AVS Media Demo.
And they used to do those peri-enterally, how do you say that word?
They used to do it right now.
Yeah.
She had to get it like in her abdomen and
Yeah.
her leg, like they
Yeah.
keep doing it in different sites.
Yeah. And they try to do it.
AVS Media Demo.
Because then it's slowly absorbed as opposed to being sent to the nervous system and you urinate them out real quick. You had rabies? Yes.
What's the shot that they put in your belly button?
The shot they put in your belly button.
AVS Media Demo.
I don't know. For what disease? Do you want to talk about it privately? What? Oh, yeah, they'll do it across the abdomen. And they may put them in your umbilicus, I don't know.
AVS Media Demo.
Well, they-
No, they do something.
But they are done abdominally, and it's a series, it's a long series of shots. Yeah, so that's probably right. So we're not making fun of it. Okay, almost done.
AVS Media Demo.
Down at the bottom, the Retroviridae. What do we know about the Retroviridae? What does retro mean? I was going to wear my retro tie today, and I forgot.
It's a throwback.
AVS Media Demo.
So it's something that goes back. That's exactly what it implies. So what does this mean? So now we've got Retroviridae, and if you look there, we've got the oncoviruses, and right away you know that that's associated with cancer in one form or another.
AVS Media Demo.
And then we've got this thing called the lentivirus. And lentivirus, which is actually the correct genus name for HIV. But how many of you have heard that?
AVS Media Demo.
If I said, your patient's infected with a lentivirus, you probably got a cold. Hand up. Oh dear.
AVS Media Demo.
It basically attacks itself, or it causes the body to attack itself.
Okay, so let's talk about this for just a minute here and see if we put the pieces together. What's the history behind it?
AVS Media Demo.
And we're not sure what the source was. They're still speculating whether it was a certain type of green monkey or something else. Could be all over the place. So the virus comes along and does what? Here's your cell.
AVS Media Demo.
Developed virus with these great spikes coming out. And you got the receptor, so here comes the virus down. It now attaches. And you got the receptor, so here comes the virus down, it now attaches. And what kind of virus?
AVS Media Demo.
Virus. It's going to be endocytosed. Penetration, correct?
Right?
Then it's going to be uncoated. We're going to digest away the coat. And what's going to be released? RNA. So
AVS Media Demo.
Cell. And in this particular case, we've got two scenarios that we can follow. One would be that we're going to read this RNA immediately and go through the typical cycle, which means that we're going to read the RNA, we're going to copy the RNA, we're going to make the proteins, we're going to do that. We're going to build all
AVS
these
Media
little viruses.
Demo.
And what are we going to do? Bud them off, right? Bud them off because it's an enveloped RNA virus. What's the other scenario, though? Is that along with
AVS Media Demo.
strands of RNA, we have an enzyme that it's brought from the last cell with it, which is a reverse transcriptase.
AVS Media Demo.
Obviously, ACE tells us that it's an enzyme. Transcription, we know what that means, because that's the process whereby we make what? Messenger RNA. Remember when we copy DNA with RNA?
AVS Media Demo.
It's a copy of the DNA, we call that a messenger RNA molecule. That process is called transcription. So what we're going to do now, though, is use an enzyme to reverse the process. So what happens to the RNA?
AVS Media Demo.
It's reversed back to DNA. So here's the nucleus, and now we're building DNA, and we're going to put new DNA, except it's viral DNA, inside this host cell. And we've got to get
AVS
it
Media
incorporated
Demo.
into the chromosomes inside of that cell. And there's a mechanism for doing that. When we start to talk about genetics next week, we'll delve into that. But the important thing is that what can happen is that we can then have
AVS Media Demo.
viral DNA incorporated in our own genome, our own set of chromosomes. And it hides there. And it's hiding quite well when you think about it.
AVS Media Demo.
Does your immune system even know that it's there? Heavens no. Can't find it, can't feel it. It has no sense that that's there. Every time this cell divides, your cell divides, what does it divide with it? That
AVS
viral DNA
Media Demo.
into your own.
So that's.
So what happens then eventually? Eventually, and for whatever reason it's going to be triggered, is that we're going to start to read those viral.
AVS Media Demo.
When we read them, what comes out? Messenger RNA. But whose messenger RNA? The virus's messenger RNA. And what do? We go through the whole process of synthesizing the parts, assembling them together. binding them
AVS
off.
Media Demo.
So it's a unique virus in that way, yes.
At this point, I'm like dormant or waiting
Exactly.
for decades.
So it shows latency. And Magic Johnson, you see
AVS Media Demo.
a lot. I can't remember what for, but you see his mug on there, and obviously he's HIV positive, but shows none of the symptoms. And how do we treat this then?
AVS Media Demo.
Go ahead.
Is it true that, well, not to answer your question, but that he doesn't test positively for it anymore in his blood?
That I don't know.
Okay, I've heard that, but not from anybody
Yeah.
reputable.
I don't know. Anybody else comment?
They can suppress
AVS Media Demo.
coronavirus in your blood, but it's still in there, so it's untraceable, but they don't know where it lives. So
And
it's not
tough
like
to get tired,
hepatitis, they
which
can't.
doesn't mean that it's not there, just that the level is so low that they don't see a load, a viral load.
AVS Media Demo.
You guys know more about that than I do, in terms of his situation. How would you, what?
He took AZ.
You asked how to.
Oh,
treat
he's rich enough to afford the cocktail.
AVS Media Demo.
Sometimes 4 or 5 different drugs, which are very effective in terms of keeping the virus from actually assembling. When we get into antimicrobials, we'll talk more specifically about the drugs used in
AVS Media Demo.
this. And because what we can do is we try to stop the cycle of the virus in one of three places. And quite effective. What's the scoop with the drugs? We know that those cocktails are very effective, and yet how many people do we have around the planet?
AVS Media Demo.
They're making so much money off
There are millions upon millions of people who are. Most of them are in Eastern Europe or in Africa. Distribution of those drugs is sometimes
AVS Media Demo.
polio vaccine out there. So it's not the fact that we don't have the drugs and can't make the drugs relatively cheaply, it's that we can't dispense them properly. So it's kind of a sad scenario.
Doesn't that go back to
AVS Media Demo.
It does, and why?
if they can make a huge profit off it by selling a little bit for a lot of money, why would they make a lot and sell it cheap?
We are at a situation right now that
AVS Media Demo.
lots of drugs for people who are sick are unavailable. And a lot of different drugs are unavailable. And especially a lot of oncogenic drugs are unavailable. And the reason is that the
AVS Media Demo.
have said we can make more profit making and selling Viagra and Cialis than we can doing these antiviral drugs. So why should we do that? And we've let those drug companies go because we say
AVS Media Demo.
make something where you know you're going to make money. But in the long run, what's happened is now we have shortages of a whole variety of drugs that a lot of people need. And if the government doesn't step in soon, and I'm not one to say,
AVS Media Demo.
if they don't make us step in relatively soon and say, you need to come back with these antivirals, these antibacterials, because we're not producing new antibiotics, a fraction of what we used to out of all of this. If you
AVS Media Demo.
these life-saving drugs as opposed to these drugs that allow you to have an erection for 4 hours. And there's something wrong with the system, but that made us $42 billion last year.
AVS Media Demo.
Keep that as a priority. Go ahead, next.
It's kind of to go off what you said, like, yes, there's some of that, but there's new HIV meds that come out all the time. Because I work in a specialty
Right,
pharmacy, so
and
it's
they're
expensive.
modifications of what we've got.
But the
AVS Media Demo.
this virus mutates so quickly that if you don't take your pill every, and the regimens are not like, oh, I have to remember to take one pill in the morning. Yes,
That's a
there
good
are
point.
some new drugs that are easier to be compliant with.
AVS Media Demo.
Compliance, they can have to, not only, okay, well, this trifecta doesn't work anymore because you weren't compliant, let's go to the next trifecta that requires you to take 2 to maintain their compliance. They can have to, not only, okay, well, this trifecta doesn't
AVS Media Demo.
let's go to the next trifecta that requires you to take 2 pills 3 or 4 times a day versus 1 pill 3 times a day, and they still can't stay compliant with that because they couldn't remember the easy ones. So you end up with super HIV viruses that
Yeah.
aren't.
AVS Media Demo.
Strains of HIV virus out there now. And they react differently to the cocktails. 2 major strains, there's HIV-1 and HIV-2. But that's great input.
AVS Media Demo.
when you're looking at the drugs and the drug companies, when you go back to the profitability of it, I know that I've come into different circumstances in my lifetime where drugs, we were told that because there's only a small
AVS Media Demo.
we're not making this drug, or when we came into, when my son was first diagnosed, there was only one drug available. It had not tested well on children, and I literally had to sign his life away to the drug company for them to get
AVS Media Demo.
It was nasty, but they've mutated it and changed it. But I mean, the profitability, we were paying something like $10,000 a dose for 10 days.
Yep.
And I mean, you have
AVS Media Demo.
and they have times where they'll make so much of, pain drugs, and then, they're supposed to change the equipment and stuff, but then they find that it's more profitable to make this one versus this one, and it's getting to the point where I really
AVS Media Demo.
government regulations on that.
And it's, Congress is dealing with it right now, and we'd be curious to see where they come out on the whole thing. What do you die of? Do you die of HIV?
No.
Yeah, exactly. And what are the
AVS Media Demo.
yeah, and a variety of different kinds of pneumonia, whether it's Klebsiella pneumonia or it's staphylococcal pneumonia or something like that. But tuberculosis is now a major problem.
AVS Media Demo.
Resistant, it's called super resistant TB, SRTB. So there's a whole bunch of other things that get you that would not normally, your immune system would normally be able to take care of. What, just throw one other thing out.
AVS Media Demo.
Cells, it'll attack mucosal cells, obviously. And let's start from the beginning. How did you get it? Mostly it's from intimate contact, correct? Because the person you're with is HIV
AVS Media Demo.
virus necessarily? No. No. So just because you've had contact, intimate contact, doesn't mean that you're going to be HIV positive. But increased contact with that person is going to increase the risk, obviously.
AVS Media Demo.
Where does the virus go? Where does it want to end up? It makes its way into a variety of tissues, the mucosal tissues and so on. It's going to show up obviously in the blood because we can test blood titer
AVS Media Demo.
and find that helper T cell, that CD4 cell, which is a special kind of helper T cell. And when it attacks that one, which is the T cell that dumps out all of these cytokinins that
AVS Media Demo.
plasma cell activity and killer cytotoxic Ts, when that fails, your immune system's down the tubes. So it's a unique little virus in that respect.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
If this
AVS Media Demo.
viruses, are they doing the shift, the antigenic shifts like the A and B?
Actually, some viruses do, some don't. Most of these are relatively stable. And they've been that way for a long period of time. So really it's the influenza
AVS Media Demo.
that shows a major amount of change. And I'm getting tired here. Down at the very bottom, coronavirus. Coronavirus. What is it another? You hear a lot about
AVS Media Demo.
coronavirus? No, gastroenteritis. And, then you go, oh my gosh, we looked at 15 different
AVS Media Demo.
enteritis, and usually these are self-limiting diseases. What does that mean? A self-limiting disease.
AVS Media Demo.
A limited cycle.
Okay, you're on the right track. Somebody help them out. Self-limiting disease.
Stop themselves from killing the organism.
Say it again.
Stop
Stop.
themselves from killing.
AVS Media Demo.
Or, somebody build on that one. And what's because?
They lost the benefit of the environment, they tapped out the environment.
AVS Media Demo.
Your immune system, absolutely right, kicks in and deals with these. It's not like the virus goes, oh, I've been here long enough, and I'm leaving now. It's not like that at all. Your immune system finally kicks in and deals with it. But the
AVS Media Demo.
many of these bugs, as you look down the page, and this is by no means inclusive, have been involved with gastroenteritis. Loads of them. The point being, are you going to go to your doctor and find out which one? No, because most of them are self-limiting.
AVS Media Demo.
Bloody stool, and you can't get out of bed anymore, you can't get off the bathroom floor anymore. That may be a time where you got to deal with this, but for the most part, these are self-limiting. And when we finally take a look at the bacteria, the number of bacteria that cause symptoms which are almost identical to these,
AVS Media Demo.
and are antibiotics going to work here? No, not at all. So we're kind of stuck with this. The last one, SARS. This is made
AVS Media Demo.
probably the last month because of increased number of SARS cases, which is severe acute respiratory syndrome. This showed its head, about 5 years ago? There were a whole bunch of cases, and then it kind of went away, and everybody...
AVS Media Demo.
But now there are a significant number of cases. If you get on the CDC site, And the morbidity and mortality report, look at the number of SARS cases worldwide, don't look just at the United States. And you'll see that
AVS Media Demo.
it's a concern again, that this guy's gonna show up. A lot of people thought it was simply another type of influenza, type A, but it wasn't. Okay, we've babbled enough. Today,
AVS Media Demo.
Anybody have a conflict with 1 o'clock, you 1 o'clockers? Okay, today we're doing acid fast stains in lab. So it's kind of fun.
AVS Media Demo.
Wow, we can do them. Okay, you guys are out of here.